Welcome back. I'm Tedward. Welcome to beautiful Tennessee, and welcome to the all-new facelifted 2025 Honda Civic Si, a car that is near and dear to my heart because I owned a 2022 when it came out, and then I traded it for my Type R, but God, do I miss the fuel efficiency and plucky attitude of this Si. It's a wonderful car. It has a 1.5-liter turbo four-cylinder, the last of the 1.5 liters out there, because now everything in the Honda Civic lineup has moved to a 2-liter Atkinson cycle four-cylinder instead of this plucky little turbo. So now if you want the 1.5, this is the only way to get it. New for 2025, we'll get to some exciting interior bits, but first let's start outside. New front fascia with the Civic Hybrid Sport Touring and all those vehicles. This will be paint matched on the Si. They kept it gloss black. It's a fairly simple car, so there's no parking sensors on this. You get the Si badge and the new bumper with the little scoops. So it's just a slightly resculpted car. To the untrained eye, you might not even notice, but to those who love them, you will. If you also take a closer look at these wheels, these are new Si only 18-inch wheels, and they even say Si down here, which I don't believe was the case on the previous car. They've got 235 section tires all around, so you can do easy rotations, which is lovely, and there's only a $300 adder if you want to go from the all-season to the sportier summer tire. I don't necessarily know how that works at a dealership, because I know when I bought my car, I wasn't really given the option. The car came as it was, so you can ask your dealer if you want the summer tire on the car. But otherwise, you still get your deck lid spoiler. You get slightly smoked out tails, which again, that's something that is true, but very, very subtle. And the twin exhaust out the back. You get this great dual exhaust look, despite the fact that obviously there is only one bank of cylinders. In the trunk, tons of space, but no frills here, no spare tire either, unfortunately. I would love to have a spare tire in the Civic Si. And unlike Type R, you get a capless filler, so no need to touch anything when you're doing that. Before we get inside, let's take a look under the hood. And here we have kind of a cluster under here. It's not the prettiest engine compartment because they don't put any noise deadening covers. A lot of times when you see little covers with branded things over them with foam, that's really just to reduce injector noise. They're not trying to hide anything here. But this little 1.5 cylinder turbo makes 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. What I like about SIs is they just come as they are. The only option is the tires. So you get a sunroof, you get all the goodies you need, and nothing you don't. It only comes in sedan form, so this is what you get. And like every other 11th generation Civic, you've got plenty of legroom in the back, but not much in the way of creature comforts. In fact, you get the little red stitching, but you don't get the same red seats or the red inlays on the doors like you do up front. So there's just little places where they save money. And so from the back, it doesn't really feel all that special, but you're going to be a driver, so you're likely not spending that much time back here anyway. Up front, we're greeted with the gorgeous Si seats. These are incredibly supportive and comfortable, and I like them on long drives. Very simple, though. And then this is where we start to realize that Honda actually listens to us, because you'll notice that display is not something that has existed in previous SIs. They have gone full glass display with shift lights. Yes, finally, they listened. And let's get it started. Oh yes, now you can see your coolant temperature. The water temp gauge exists on the Si now. That did not exist on the pre-facelift version. You just got a little blue light that said it was cold and then would go off when it was ready to be revved out. That's great, because now we actually get to see where that coolant temp is. But more importantly, you get the full glass display instead of that sort of half and half. And the Si now has heated seats. Yeah, baby, this is something we complained about because Canada got heated seats. Now we have 3-stage heated seats for the front, no heated seats in the rear. Canada actually does get heated seats in the rear. We don't. That's okay. I'm not going to complain about that. That is fine. They can stay cold. I have what I need up here as a driver now. They've also upgraded the infotainment system to be the Google built-in, which is faster and is going to run more smoothly and effective than the previous situation we had, which unfortunately with Apple CarPlay would sometimes make Waze very wonky, but not anymore. Now this is fast and easy, and look, it's just an improvement. Overall, this car is just a proper improvement upon an already really enjoyable driver's car, and I couldn't be happier. So let's get out and drive it and see what the first impressions of the all-new 2025 Honda Civic Si is like. So let's get out and see how it operates. We're in sport mode. Nice to see our new shift lights. We get the familiar buzz that comes with that beeping sound to tell us to shift. We saw that in Type R before. Polaris slingshot. So it doesn't love a super hard 1-2 like that, but it'll take it. And what you'll notice is that I was wide open coming out of there. And what's most impressive about that is this limited slip differential is just magical. It doesn't have to deal with a whole bunch of torque, but it's enough that it definitely, there's the straight pipes. It's enough that it still knows how to put it down where it needs to go. And that's a beautiful thing in a car like this, because a lot of people kind of poo-poo front-wheel drive, but a great front-wheel drive platform is a really engaging driving experience, and it just can't be missed. Some turkeys. So sure, the 1.5 liter turbo does have a little bit of rev hang. People love to complain about that when this car came out, and it's just a fact of life. It's there, but it's not insufferable. I don't have as much of a problem with it as I think people did when this came out. And the way this shifts and behaves, it's just a cohesive package that translates into a really affordable little sports car that you can daily drive. But like, I'm having a good time out here. I think I'm having more fun in this than I might even have in my Type R, because I'm allowed to do this within a spectrum of speed that's not outrageous. I mean, you add quite a few miles per hour in the Type R to get anywhere near that fun zone, near the limit. Whereas in this, I'm wide open right now, and sure, we're moving, but we're not 300 horsepower going to jail moving, But what I like about it is it teaches you how to plan an entry. It's a momentum car in a way. We're not exactly trying to toge this road, but it is such a fun chassis. And once we shut it down, you put it in like 6th gear, which we're not going to do because we're going to enjoy ourselves. It gets like 37 miles per gallon. I was eking out sometimes up to 42 in mine when I owned my 22. And that's what I love about this car, is it's just the do-all sports car. It's inexpensive, it's composed, it's fun, it's efficient. I think if you can't have fun in this little SI, then you're probably not that into cars, because this is a great driving experience. Now, this is a static suspension. We're not dealing with an adaptive suspension or a suspension that gets firmer in different modes like we are in the Type R. But it's tuned so well, and I honestly usually prefer a well-tuned static suspension than I do an adaptive suspension, because it means that it suits the car and that you're not trying to drive around it. And the Type R, frankly, gets a little too stiff in its plus R mode. This SI, I think the suspension just is so dialed, and this is when I start to really appreciate Honda engineers for their attention to detail and making this car so planted and enjoyable. The shifter feel in an SI is not as precise as it is in a Type R. So don't get in this car thinking you're getting everything in a Type R minus the powertrain and suspension. There is a slight downgrade in terms of what that feels like, but I promise you it's something you'll adapt to. There's aftermarket availability. You can always go to an acuity shifter or something like that if you wanted to make it a little more intense. But honestly, this is a great little short shifter. It's fun to row the gears, it's enjoyable to use, and you'll be happy you bought a manual. Straight up. This is one of the good manuals. This is one of those manuals that this car belongs as a manual. It's not a German car that we begged for and they gave it to us with a silly putty rubber elastic band type shift feel just because we begged for it. No, this one actually feels like it belongs, and the car just is suited so well this way. Some more Honda friends. Sometimes I forget that the rev limiter is a little low. You hit fuel cut, and it's like, oh right, we do need to shift. But that honestly is more of a symptom of the fact that it has torque from, I think, like 2,000 RPM all the way to redline, basically. So it feels like it's going to keep pulling. That's why if I hit the rev limiter, I'm doing that. It's just because, like, well, it's still going, so I'm allowing it to do its thing. But this is a joyous little car. So, do I notice the chassis rigidity improvement and retuned suspension? Not really, but it's probably because I haven't driven a pre-facelift SI in at least a year, and I've been driving my Type R. So I don't know. I think the biggest thing here that we're getting is this glass display, some heated seats, some nicer front fascia if that's your style. But overall, the car is fairly similar than it was. It's just, it's got improvements that we kind of begged for, that we asked for, and Honda listened and gave it to us. Otherwise, the driving experience, largely the same. So if you did buy an early 11th Gen SI and you're thinking, ooh, do I upgrade? Well, if you need the heated seats or you want this glass display, I totally get it. But if you think that you're going to get a fully new driving experience, it is largely similar to the way it was, which is a good thing, because it was very good before. Not a totally fair acceleration run going downhill, but let's hit it. The gearing is just dead on. Like, this is a great little car because it's short enough that you can kind of row through second and third and really enjoy it. I mean, this is a pretty fast road. We're not really pushing it, because if we were pushing it, we'd be going a little too fast, and it's a little slick. But you can really kind of wind out third gear and enjoy yourself. Whereas, like, you know, not a comparable car, but in a GT4, second gear is over 80 miles an hour. So that's kind of less fun, honestly. Go slow through here, just in case anyone comes on or off. Looking good. Just love the front axle of this car. It feels so good. At the heart of the SI, it's an econo car, but it's an econo car that you'll think of as a sports car first, because it's an engaging 6-speed manual transmission. It's a chassis that's designed to go around a corner and change directions quickly. And it's fun to drive, but the beautiful thing is that you'll also be able to get insane fuel economy out of the car. And that's tough to do, because there are other cars that are somewhat inexpensive that are fun to drive, manual transmissions. Let's take a Subaru WRX, for example. But you're not going to get 40 miles per gallon out of a Subaru. It's just not going to happen. And, you know, sure, it comes at the expense of a little bit of power, and maybe you've got a little bit of turbo lag out of this 1.5 liter, but geez Louise, this thing just does so many things And you'll be proud to drive it. You'll be happy to drive it. And you'll enjoy it, because even when you think, oh, I wish I had a little more power, well, you'll be spending like nothing on fuel. To me, the SI represents a segment that's kind of going away, which is an actually inexpensive or relatively inexpensive sports car for the rest of us, that you don't have to go and spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to enjoy a car. Now, what you're not getting out of this is you're not going to get some outrageous engine and Nürburgring lap time that's going to impress all the people at the bar. But what you are getting is a car that is completely reasonable to daily drive, that's good for an individual, a young person, an older person, a family, whatever. This is a really versatile platform that's also completely appropriate to flog on a mountain road. And it's not an excuse for anything. It actually is the car it sets out to be. This is not just a badge on the back of the car. It actually has the chops to be fun, and it is enjoyable, and I'm very happy behind the wheel. And even as a Type R owner, I'm having just a wonderful time in this SI, and I wouldn't have hesitated to keep my SI had the Type R not come along. So please don't ever look at that switch in cars to say that I didn't want the SI. No, I did. It's just that, like, I mean, look, the Type R is arguably better, but this is still very formidable. And if you have the opportunity to do the Type R, I'd recommend it. But this SI is just out of this world good for the money. So I think that's going to do it for me in the facelifted 2025 Honda Civic Si. This is great. This is such a good little car. I hope people really take this thing seriously and go and enjoy them and make this their little runabout and enjoy them on canyon roads, because I have such a good time driving this thing. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. Look at that. They've updated the auto rev match feature to now rev match into first gear. It did not do the second to first blip in the pre-facelift. Now it does. Pretty lovely.